So, hi, this is Debra, and I'm here with Carla deRosa, who is the owner of RAWxIt, raw food educator, chef, holistic wellness coach. Yes. I want to make sure I get it all right. So, and we've been hanging out this afternoon, and we know each other because we both worked at the Living Foods Institute in Atlanta.
Yes.
And we both were the kitchen director there at different times. So we have a lot in common with our, Atlanta journey that we've both been on, and teaching raw foods for many years. And I thought you could just share a little bit about your business and your new book and your new online courses.
All right.
And all your stuff. And Carla is really inspiring to me. Well, I'm learning all about the stuff you're doing online with your recipe classes. And then I've just seen you in the community over the years doing your own thing, at different festivals and events and with your food, and just really focused on this mission that you have of nutrition and wellness. And
yes. Well, back at you. Because that's how I know Debra.
Okay.
Is I knew you, way before I knew you through the community. And they're like, oh, you're into raw food, you got to meet Debra. And then I finally did meet her, and she came to my house. And
oh, yes.
And we did the meetups and all that. But yes, a raw food instructor, extraordinaire chef, all that. So you're my inspiration as well. So thank you. I remember I was telling her, I remember these little cute little recipe books in handwriting that were just so beautiful, just so lovely. And that just inspired me. That was way before I thought about making raw food my living and my mission, that, you were out there and inspiring me. And I remember going to Lake Claire Land Trust one time, and it was a festival. And it was like nothing I could eat, but Debra's food was there. I was like, I can eat this!
Oh my gosh!
So good!
I think that was Evolver Fest.
It was great.
There was a Evolver Fest with Daniel Pinchbeck and Evolver, and then I think I did it 2 years in a row, 2009, 2010.
Yeah, that was great.
And then I went to your events, like your potlucks.
Yeah, I'm going to start back doing my meetups. But to bring everybody up to date, so what I'm doing is, so I'm a raw food instructor and a wellness coach, and I help transition people to a plant-based lifestyle. And that's what I consider myself, plant-based. There's been times that I've used raw kind of like as a food medicine protocol. So my story is that I had, which I didn't know at the time, but I had systemic candida. And how it presented was, I just grew up with stomach aches. I was a colicky baby. I cried all the time. I wasn't nursed. I just had soy formula. And it destroyed my gut. And my whole life, I was in and out of urgent care, emergency with stomach aches. So then fast forward, I did an elimination diet and eliminated wheat, soy, dairy, meat, salt, sugars. And I got better, but I was just eating lettuce and apples.
Oh, wow.
And so I got a chance to go to Living Foods Institute and learn about raw foods. And in 10 days, all my symptoms went away from 40 years.
Wow.
And so I was like, oh, this is what health feels like. This is what a normal stomach feels like. And I had been a corporate trainer. So I had worked, in several different organizations where I was a stand-up trainer. It was crazy because I was having stomach aches and violent diarrhea, but I was a stand-up trainer.
You're
and like, and we really have to work together as a team. It's like, time for a break.
Oh my gosh.
And I never really got a diagnosis. And I would go to GI doctors, and they would do barium enemas and all this radiation stuff to kind of see what's going on. And they never really diagnosed me with anything. And so I decided to be raw for a year. And I had regular motility. I was going to the bathroom. I didn't have all this craziness happening. I lost 60 pounds.
Wow.
All my biometrics went into order. So I was slightly, I would call it pre-diabetic. My fasting glucose level was always in the high 80s or the low 90s. You know, when I went raw, fine. Blood work was always like anemic. When I was raw, you know, when I moved raw doing moringa and other herbs, blood's fine. So I found it to be like the silver bullet. It's not just one thing, but the lifestyle to be like a silver bullet for my health. And so the things that I wanted to do that I would put on hold because I didn't feel well enough to do, it's like, wow, I'm finally able to live. And so it really inspired me. It's like, I want to share this with people. It's like we're all born to do something. And most of us get here and we get so distracted by physical pain, emotional pain, and we get into these patterns and we totally forget why we came here. You know, it's like we get on a hamster wheel, make money, and then we die. And I'm like, no, that's not it. That is totally not it. It's like to live, but you know, you only get one vehicle. So if your vehicle is broke down, you can't really go anywhere spiritually, I feel. And so, except for if you're Stephen Hawkins, I guess some people have learned to make a huge contribution through their physical trials, but most of us get very distracted, you know? And so I'm like, wow, just changing a few things in my lifestyle gave me the chance to almost like get 10 years younger, lose weight, feel good. It's like, wow, I want to share this with people. So that's how it became my mission.
I see you as so on purpose with it. It's like, it's so inspiring to me. To me, I get distracted. I'm like, oh, food, this, that. Like, and you're just like, I'm on a mission. That's my experience of you.
Oh, thank you. Well, and I do think, like, I think food is kind of like the medicine. Right? But the purpose is the spiritual work that we came here to do. I just happen to love to teach. Yeah. Right? So even in corporate, I was like an undercover minister. You know, like I was like a missionary in there. Like, but I was teaching things like, you know, loving people and accepting people and things like that. So I think that I was meant to be a teacher, and it's just that I have good news. Yeah. You know, about food, and so that's become my focus more recently. But you know, like you know, I live through like life coaching. I have life coaches, I have intuitives, I have people who help me. So I know food isn't the only medium to have your spiritual awakening, but it's certainly a fast one. Yes. I mean, your body is so responsive to food, it can accelerate the process.
Right. I think so many people that aren't into healthy food don't make that connection that it really, food affects, it affects us like almost instantly. Yeah. It's like people talk about, you know, taking a drug or something or drinking alcohol or how that would affect, but it's like, if you try drinking a green juice, like that also has an immediate shift on how you feel and your mood and
definitely. You know, I mean, because it's all chemicals, right? So you know, the chemicals you put in your body or the chemicals you don't put in your body, it all has an impact on how you feel. And I have heard people who were into raw food, and I don't think I told them yet, but I'm not a 100% pure raw foodist. You know, I'm plant-based, and I work with people all over the spectrum. People still eating chitlins. I was like, just put some kale next to some chitlins. Your body will figure it out. Right. And it does, because we become more intuitive. The cleaner we are, we become more intuitive. I've heard people say it makes them lighter, it makes them clearer. Well, one of the things on a scientific level is that a lot of us are inundated with fungus and candida, like me. I didn't know I had candida. I didn't even know what candida was. Even as a grown woman, all I knew was yeast infections, like vaginal yeast infections. But we're talking about candida, you know, the same yeast that can be in, you know, give you a yeast infection, but throughout your body and especially in your digestive system. But a lot of people have it in their brain and have brain fog. Wow. And so just 3 or 4 days of not eating processed foods can starve out your candida enough to where you can have marked sense of aliveness and awakening. And that's the spiritual awakening that people describe from cleaning up their food. Right. Yeah.
And so, and you have so much energy. You've got 2 teenagers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 2 teenage girls, and
I love them. They're so sweet. Yes, I have a 12-year-old Akasha and 14-year-old Erica. Okay. And when I had them, I was not raw. I was like terrible food junkie, and that's been my path. junk food, fast food, really eating addictions. So like I can really relate to people who have a hard time losing weight, have a hard time not eating junk food, because that's been what I've used raw food and plant-based food to help me. Because instead of processing emotionally and spiritually, like I'm learning to now, I used to just eat and drink and sleep and watch TV. Like that was the way I processed my emotions and dealt with, you know, the challenge of being human. And so now I have a whole different medium, a whole new celery is my paintbrush.
So how do you process your emotions now, or what? They come out more easily, or
well, it's funny because I work with a lot of people, and we were talking about like having a tribe of people who you understand and they understand you, who are different types of healers. So I consider myself a food medicine healer, but I work with people who use energy, Reiki. I've worked with people who use hypnosis. I've done a lot of work with a lot of different people. So recently I went to a seminar. Well, yeah, it was like a kind of workshop where we did tantric healing. So it wasn't sexual in the sense of like we didn't engage in sex, but we laid on massage tables and everybody like got into each other's energy field. So about 6 inches above the body. And we just helped to move any energy blocks that we felt. And it's so funny because this happened on Sunday. And so yesterday I had a huge breakdown. So I'm like yelling at one of my friends and like so justified and what happened. And then I stopped. I said, where is this coming from? You know, and I think the energy work on Sunday opened up something. And in a moment, I realized it's not my friend. My friend, she triggered it. She helped me pull it up. But really, it was a really deep sense of guilt. My oldest daughter had a very crazy childbirth experience. She was a 14-ounce preemie.
You wrote a book about it, right?
Yes, I wrote a book about
it.
And I had a whole lot of suppressed guilt. And so after I realized that, it's like I cried all day and I slept all day and I released it. Like, so today I'm like 10 pounds lighter. I feel 10 pounds lighter because I released that.
Wow.
But it's like the food and being around people who normalize healing allowed me to know, no, nothing's going wrong. You're having a breakdown, so you can have your breakthrough.
Yes.
Because if you can't break up those programs, those ways of thinking, and the suppression of emotions, you know, and usually it doesn't have to, but sometimes because we're so ingrained in that programming, it can be painful. Yeah. So it was painful for about an hour or two, and the rest of it was just releasing, and it was amazing because I feel like a new person, and I didn't even know I had that level of frustration, guilt, shame, and rage. I didn't even know. I didn't even know. And so the triggering that we experience when friends and family annoy us, it's really hints, it's suggestions that if you look deeper, you got something stored that you need to release. But what happens is that we just get caught up and we just blame the person who's there. And it's not them. They're just reminding us that something is there. That is underneath. Yeah.
So amazing. Yeah. I'm like tempted to talk about relationship stuff. if you're comfortable. I don't know, since you mentioned the Tantra thing. So, we were talking earlier. Like, I'm someone who, I've dated women, I've dated men, and I'm open to different kinds of relationship structures. Yeah. And we were talking about, you took a workshop with JujuMama.
Yes. I've been in an open marriage since 2009. And so me and my husband, we considered ourselves in a polyamorous relationship. But then when I took JujuMama's workshop, I realized that what we've evolved to is what she has named open relating, where you can relate to more than one person at a time and love more than one person at a time. And it's very controversial because in our society, you know, we're kind of conditioned one person for one person. Most people say one man, one woman. Now we're trying to move past that. But they still, even within, you know, queer culture, it's like you can't have more than one person. And but it's kind of like I have 2 daughters, you know, and I love both my daughters. And if I had a son, which, you know,
right,
I don't know if it could happen. I'm going to be 50, but if I had a son, I would love him too. You know, and when my daughters have kids, I'll love them too. Like, love is unlimited.
Right.
So you can really relate to people more openly than just one-on-one, you know, monogamous relationship structure. And so I'm exploring that, and I'm really enjoying it. And JujuMama, she really takes all of the guilt, shame, and blame out of it, because she really feels like human beings aren't monogamous, and by scientific definition, we aren't.
Right. I read about, well, all the different, like, primates, comparing us to the other primates. I think it was called, I forget, something Dawn, some book about sex at dawn that I started reading, and it talked about, like, the bonobos and the different chimpanzees and the different, like, primates that were humans are also in that category. And that the ones that were monogamous, they were monogamous out of necessity because there were no other tribes or clusters around. And the bonobos, they are polyamorous and queer, and like the women, you know, make out with each other, or the females. So it's interesting. Yeah. I'm interested in all that stuff too.
Yeah. So I think that's a part of my spiritual journey, just embracing my sexuality. Because like you, I've been with men, I've been with women, and this whole thing of open relating, they, you know, JujuMama, which is Kenya Stevens and Carl Stevens, they definitely believe in mastering monogamy in terms of mastering integrity and communication before you start adding all these people and experiences to you, which to me makes sense. And
right. So, you have to have the communication really down, and the relationship has to be, you can't use it to like escape or avoid what you already have going on.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I'm inspired by you in that way, because you've been married for
16. We've been together 17 years.
17 years, and it's like you're successfully doing this, like this open relating.
Yeah, so it's great, and of course we do have a community of people, but you know, in larger society, we're not. But that's the same thing as Kenya and Carl. Like, you know, they have a community, and they're building a community within JujuMama Love Academy, but you know, it's still isolating. But it's interesting because when you read the surveys about monogamy and cheating and all this stuff, it's like, you know, almost everybody cheats. Right. But yet we keep on saying we're monogamous. But then they go ahead and cheat again, and then they're like, but I'm monogamous. Right. It's like, really, is that being monogamous if you're not monogamous and you just keep getting back on the path? Or
and there could be more like conscious and communicative ways and like loving ways than cheating.
And my thing too is like, especially when I look at Carl and Kenya as an example, they've been together 22 years and they're building something together. A lot of times people get divorces and they destroy themselves financially, emotionally, spiritually. And then when there's kids involved, and I was talking to this earlier, like our kids are 50% of our DNA. So if we have angst against our partner, their parent, then we're really projecting that negative energy on our own children. And so it's really important to love and appreciate and accept our partners for the sake of our children, you know, just even on an energetic level. Yeah.
So tell us about your book.
Yes.
Or books.
So I have this book, Rock Your Life. I was doing like these little pamphlets of recipes. And so I decided to go ahead and publish a book. So it's a full color book. Every recipe has a color page in it. Because, you know, I see these recipe books and it's like a lot of writing, and that doesn't inspire me. So every single book has, every single recipe has full color page and explanation about what the food does. This is something that I made earlier today, the matcha green tea wake up smoothie. And the book is all raw recipes, but it's to integrate into a plant-based lifestyle. So you don't have to be a pure raw foodist, but these are some darn good recipes if I do say myself. The sweet potato dream pie, that's raw sweet potatoes, for some reason, love to heal the pancreas. And I think that's especially important because in my communities, especially diabetes is just rampant, especially even in children from processed foods. And so we can do insulin, but that will never heal the pancreas, the source of, our insulin, levels and being at the right levels. But you get that pancreas healed up, you're good. You can get off medicine. And so that's how I like to use raw foods. But this is Rock Your Life, 21 delicious plant-inspired recipes. And you can find this on my website at RAWxIT.com, RAWxIT.com. And you can order the book and I'll ship it to you really quickly. And based on my book, I've been doing internet classes. So that's another thing we talked about. So I've been able to meet people out in the world online at conferences who wanted to learn about raw foods. They want to learn about the Wigmore protocol, especially in terms of reversing cancer symptoms, clearing out abnormal cells and irregular cells out of their body, shrinking tumors, and eliminating cysts and things like that. And I've been able to teach them online, and it's been great. And so Debra came in while I was teaching the class earlier. And so part of it is online where I have a lot of the documentation just housed online. And then I do in-person, well, not in-person, but live coaching sessions where I kind of go over the information that they've already read or have access to and fill in the blanks, answer their questions, encourage them, and help them get a personal protocol. Because even with the Wigmore protocol, it's like hundreds of foods, but any protocol is not going to be exactly right for everybody because we're so bio-individual. What I can eat, you can't eat, vice versa. And then also, what I love about this work is that it's also biodynamic. So like what I ate 2 years ago, I might not be able to eat now.
Right.
Like you said,
your body shifts and changes.
So that's why it's great to have a coach to kind of walk that path with you to help you identify, oh, this is not working. This is, my body is cold, wet now. So now I need more heated foods. I need more ginger, more garlic. I may need to cook foods more, have more hot soups to help people kind of make it work exactly for them. So that's what I've been able to do. And people love it. They love the convenience of it. They love being able to talk every once in a while and have goals and to work together, to have a community online. And so I like it. I think I like it just as much as doing it in person. And it really works, like I said, with my lifestyle because I have kids. So I have the classes during the day, usually when they're not here. Today they were off at school. But
so cool. And the classes are also on your website? They can get to it through your website too?
They definitely can find out more about my classes at RAWxIT.com, RAWxIT.com. And you can email me at Carla at RAWxIT. So it's CARLA at RAWxIT.com. You can find me on Facebook, Carla Rabb deRosa. That's my maiden name. But you can message me through Facebook as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yay.
Well, thank you so much. It's so fun. It's been fun hanging out and talking.
Yes, so much fun catching up with you. I'm so glad. I'm so selfishly glad that you're in Atlanta.
It's so good to reconnect. So.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome. I feel like we could keep going, but I know we're going to wrap up for right now. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.